just ask away, and I'll be glad to answer anything I can.
Rad. All right, guys. Well, today we have a special guest, Josh, right here from Alabama and soon Florida with Timeline Heating and Air Conditioning. Super glad to have you on. Very grateful. All right. Real quick, Josh, give us a quick recap of your reputation in the HVAC industry right now.
Oh, well, thanks for having me on. I have been in this industry for going on 30 years now.
Whew.
So I've been through a lot of the changes with it. I've done everything from being the grunt out there on the ground all the way up to, running my own companies. I've worked as a consultant. I've worked as a representative with some other companies, doing as much as 25, $40 million a year, and companies as small as, $1 to $2 million a year. Done a lot of technical training, kind of mentor a lot of people in the industry. So yeah, I've been around for a while.
Okay, so when it comes to mentorship and you being in the industry for 30 years, what's like the one big problem with that you help solve for new HVAC business owners? Because I imagine they come to you for some consultations or some help and advice. What do you tell those guys?
First, you really got to find out what their problems are.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, hiring for one thing is an issue. A lot of companies want to hire, and a lot of the bigger companies right now, they've got a problem. They've kind of they found a little niche where they can take these younger technicians, some of them, young, good-looking guys. They'll be sending them out to all these houses, and they may not be as technically sound. They may not really know enough technically to give a accurate diagnosis. They may think they are, but the companies have trained them. They've given them a script. You go out, you say this, you do this, and they'll bring these young guys in. These young guys will come out the gate and just sell a bunch of, build a bunch of revenue. But what they end up doing is they end up burning themselves, because then they get in a bind. Someone calls them out here or there. Word starts to spread around. They get a bad name for themselves amongst other companies. Things start to fall off where they're working at, and then next thing you know, no one hires them. So that's one problem that I've seen developing here recently, in recent years, with a lot of the bigger companies that are coming in, buying up a lot of the mom and pop organizations. So that's an issue. Me personally, it happened to me just last year. I brought two young guys on. They had a lot of potential. They'd been through college courses. They'd been through trade school, and they had a lot of potential. Now, trade school didn't get them to where they needed to be, but I was going to mentor them. And so I put them to work, during slow season when everyone else had laid them off and they had nowhere else to go, and worked them all through the slow season. And then right about before the hot weather hit last year, a couple big companies stepped in and offered them just a premium hourly wage to come aboard, and, kind of stole them away. Well, I kind of told them how things were going to play out. Lo and behold, 4 or 5 months later, wanting to come back, hates life altogether, can't stand what's going on. They're working him to death. Um, you know, and by the time I got him back, one of the guys back, training anymore. Could not keep him aboard. He had learned so many bad habits. And because he'd go out, he'd diagnose stuff wrong for the other company and sell the people new systems. And, he's raking in a commission on it, thinks he's doing a good job. Meanwhile, the other company's just turning a blind eye to it. And by the time I got him back, just after 5 months, 4 or 5 months, he was almost untrainable at that point. So it was,
Jeez.
and I've seen that happen with a lot of young technicians coming out. So, you've got to learn in steps. You can't just come out and be a top tier sales guy without knowing the technical side first, especially if you're if you're riding in a van as a technician. There's just too many companies out here that want to throw a guy in a van because he can pass a drug test and because he's got a valid driver's license and call him a technician.
Wow.
When I started out, it wasn't that way. I mean, you had to work your way up. You started out at the bottom, you learned, you got to move forward. You were moved up on your merit.
Mm-hmm.
And these days, there's too many places out here that just want to throw you in a truck and call you a technician just because they put you in a uniform. And that's what's hurting the industry right now.
You're saying that would you say it's a lack of professionalism?
Well, it depends on how you look at professionalism. You can be portrayed as a professional. You hear a lot of people say, it's all about your appearance, right? There's a script basically that these companies teach their people to go by, and it sounds very professional. It's very deliberate, and there's a lot of sales aspects behind it. So they teach them, go in, this is how you talk, this is how you speak, this is how you park the vehicle in front of the house, all of it. Everything that they do is staged to look professional, and perception is reality in a lot of cases. But on the back end, the customer is not getting exactly what they think what they think they're getting. They don't have the true knowledgeable professional. They may have someone out there they perceive as professional, but do they have a knowledge professional? And for an average homeowner, it's very hard to tell just from meeting someone up front.
So how do you stand out for the average homeowner? Because you get these homeowners that get these professional guys, and they say, hey, everything's wrong with your unit, you need a new one to get the sales commission. And then you and your team come up and you tell them, hey, you actually just need new coils or something like that. How do you stand out? How do you educate? And how would you tell other companies that are also feeling that burn? How would you tell them to educate their homeowners?
We give the customer all the information up front. We give them everything that is going on with their system. We let them know what's good about it. We let them know what's bad about it. We don't, it's not our house. It's not our decision, good, bad, or indifferent. We're going to tell you exactly what's going on. If you have a problem and we see it, but you may not notice it yet, we're going to let you know about it. And we're going to be able to explain to you why you're having this problem. If we don't know exactly right off the bat, then there's tests and procedures we can do to further find out. Best I can say for homeowners is ask questions. That's the main thing. Ask those technical questions. Why? The question why for a homeowner can get them a lot more information and a lot better understanding about the person they're dealing with as a technician. Just, why is this? Well, why is that happening? And if they can't go more than 2 or 3 whys, you might want to start saying.
You might want to start what?
They might want to second guess the technical ability of the guy they're dealing with.
Okay. Is it so that's the rule, 3 whys. So for all the homeowners that listen to this, or when I make a little short reel out of this, to pat the HVAC tech at your door needs to pass the 3 why test. Ask why 3 times. Okay.
Yep. When they tell you what's wrong, well, why?
Yeah.
What can we do about it?
Interesting. I'm gonna okay, sorry, you cut out a little bit right there. I'm gonna pick up my car today from the mechanic. I'm gonna ask him why 3 times. So this guy's making me run around.
So. Why did this happen? So
that's good. That's good tips, man. So do you feel like what's the percentage? 100% being like, oh, all HVAC companies are doing this is bad. And then 0 being like, no, all HVAC companies are honest. Obviously every state's going to be different, but for in your mind, 30 years professional right here, what's the difference between a good HVAC company and a bad HVAC company right here on being honest and dishonest?
I mean, you're going to have the thing about it is you're going to have multiple technicians that operate, a little bit differently within every company.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you may have one company that does great, but they may have that one or two technicians that when they come out there, they might not be as straightforward as everyone else. But I'm going to say it's probably a 50-50 shot, honestly. Wow. I mean, I have been back behind a lot of less than honest companies. Now, can I say it's the company, or do I say, well, this is, same situation as the young guy that, I spoke of earlier. Mm-hmm. Is it a matter of they have a technician that just doesn't know and thinks he knows? Because those guys are a lot more dangerous than people that actually do not know and will recognize that.
Really? Why?
A technician that will go out to a call and doesn't know and will call a senior technician for advice is a career technician. They are someone that is going to make it in this field. Guys that will go out here and they just assume, that their word is law and no one's ever going to second guess them. And if, the customer gets upset about it, oh, well, so what, who cares? You got to have a full spectrum of technical knowledge, and you have to know how to be personable and be empathetic to your customer. I mean, the easiest way to become a good technician is, for one, become a friend to the client that you're with. Mm-hmm. That is the number one goal. If you wouldn't do it to your friends, don't do it to the clients.
Yeah, 100%. So let's say I'm an HVAC owner and you're consulting me real quick, and the competition is just throwing out these enormous bonuses through these new guys, and I want good quality work. What should I do to get these good quality guys? Because I know they're out there, but I have these big companies stealing them with. I saw an ad for George Brazil, $15,000 sign-on bonus. I was like, that's ridiculous. The cops, yep. the police station doesn't even give a bonus that big out here. So.
Right. Yeah. So here's the thing about that. When did they come out with that bonus? Right before the hot season hit, right before the busy season hit, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what those companies do is they will offer that big bonus because they know that in the hot season, they're going to make it up. But they also know that as soon as it slows down again, they're going to put them on the road. They'll bring guys in for the hot season, which hurts their competitors who have, bit the bullet, worked these guys during the slow season when there wasn't much going on, made sure that their family, ate through the winter and that they had a constant paycheck. And then, when it comes time for them, the technician, to be working when there's not much work, they don't have anything for them. So they just let them go. And so that's a big killer when it comes to these sign-on bonuses. There's a reason why they're having to put that money out there, and it's not because they have a good business base. It's because they're banking on what's to come, instead of what they've already done in the past. So they didn't set themselves up correctly to manage their business for longevity. They're betting on the come, basically.
Okay. So let's say I have a tech in front of me and they told me, hey, this company's giving me a $8,000 sign-on bonus. What can you do for me? And you can't do that because you're growing. What would you tell me, right? How do I get that tech to work for me for a long time?
As far as hiring them over?
Yeah. When they're saying there's another company giving me a bonus.
Well, what's the bonus consist of? Do they have to be there for so many months? What's the clause? If they're let go within 6 months, do they get $1,500 up front? And then if they're there 6 or 9 months or a year, do they get the rest of it? What's the terms of that? And then just explain to them that, there's a reason why these companies are putting this big money out there up front. And it's because they don't intend on keeping you around. If you're looking for a job with stability, we have stability. If you're looking for an $8,000 bonus and then lose out on $20,000, $30,000 through the third, fourth quarter of the year because you don't have anywhere to work, I mean, because no one, I mean, let's face it, if you get laid off in September after working, May to September, you're losing out on a lot of revenue, and there's no HVAC company going to be doing hiring in that time.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen, especially down here in the South where, once you hit September, everything slows down. The heating calls are not as abundant as, other parts up north. So, and especially in Florida too. I mean, when it hits, it just comes to a slow crawl. And if you don't have a company that's willing to stand up and make sure that you have jobs and revenue for your home during those slow periods, then they're just taking advantage of you. They're looking for what's out for their best interest. They're not looking out for what's in the best interest of the technician coming in.
Interesting.
But in reality, if it's in my experience, if it's younger guys, early 20s, whatnot, they're going to take that bonus and they're not going to think twice about it. A lot of the younger guys they see that big money up front and they think it's just going to continue to be big money.
Yeah.
And that's not the way it is.
So I'll go into the question about the slow season, but before I get that, so you did mention about how reputation is important in the field, in a market that's saturated. I didn't know this until you brought it up. How important is reputation, whether you're a tech, an owner, sales guy, office person? How important is reputation?
Your reputation is who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what will make you, or that it is what will break you. Regardless, I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of. It doesn't matter how good you are as a technician. If you're not good with people, you're not going to make it. And that's even if you're working for a company, especially like a pro-pay based company, which most companies are going to that. If you're out there to turn a wrench, if you walk in, turn a wrench, walk out, and you're out of a homeowner's home in 30 minutes and charge them $500, $600, there's not a whole lot of value in that customer's eyes. You didn't build a whole lot of value on what you did. I mean, for one, you can't really even diagnose a system properly in that amount of time. So it takes time for things to be done right. But if you're, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, out the door, you're not going to build a good reputation.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt.
And so how would someone, in your 30 years, you guys talk, like the owners talk, a lot of the techs talk. Have you seen someone's career like just kind of fall off the cliff just because they had a bad reputation and they're no longer in the industry anymore, whether they're an owner or tech or sales guy?
Oh yeah, I mean, you see it all over, all the time, everywhere. I mean, I've seen some technicians that were great technical technicians, but just did not have any personnel skills. And, those guys end up on the bottom rung. They're the last ones to get any calls. There's no opportunity for them for advancement. They're there to turn wrenches, and that's all they're going to do.
So you're saying that how you treat your customers and how you serve them is very important. You brought up
the most important thing.
The personal skills.
Yeah. We are in the customer service industry. Mm-hmm. Yes, we perform a technical task, a specialized trade, but in the end, we are a customer service industry.
So how can a business owner make sure that their team's having the best customer service?
Well, protocols and policies for one. I kind of spoke, and it seemed like in a negative way of how your guys park in front of the house. You want those kind of things actually, but you have to make sure that, from a homeowner's perspective, that they're not just looking the part, but they actually know the part. But as a company, you have to implement policies to where your people are showing up. They're nice, clean cut. They're in uniform. They're not ratty looking. Their hair's, combed nice. It's not long and stringy. They're driving clean. they're driving, they smell. Yeah, that's a deal killer right off the bat.
It gets hot, man. You're up there in the attic sweaty after you're
I
done.
used to, I
Yeah.
used to carry with me 2 and 3 uniforms a day.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
my van, I kept probably half my uniforms weekly in my van, because if I left one call and was headed to another, I would stop at a service station and change. Because when you show up, I understand, yeah, it's hot, you're running, you're gunning, but it don't take long to throw a new shirt on, clean yourself up. I actually would keep a toothbrush and a small bottle of mouthwash in my cup holder in my van beside me, and would even brush my teeth in between calls. I mean, you want to show up and you want to look the part. You don't want to show up and someone have a negative opinion of you right off the bat. It
Oh,
just,
yeah.
I mean, it ruins everything.
Yeah, the first impression is everything, right? And you never know
Mhm.
that customer that you're serving for the first time for a small tune-up could be a lifelong customer of yours.
Oh yeah.
Do you see a lot of customers that you got them with a small tune-up and then they ended up getting replacement, more repairs, or a new install with you? Like what's
We pick up customers from other companies. It doesn't matter what service we're performing, really.
Mhm.
There have been, here's an example. We have a customer that we picked up a while back. We went out and he had a very, very old system, constantly breaking down. He hated his air conditioning system, his heat pump system, because it was old, it was wore out, it was well beyond its years expectancy. And he had someone that would just come by and fix it up every so often, come by, fix it up so very often, and the guy's not charging him a whole lot of money, but the homeowner's headache that he was having from all these breakdowns and all this downtime, all the comfort inside his home. uh we went out there, we diagnosed it, we gave him all the information up front. This is what we're seeing, this is what you've got, which direction would you like to go? Our advice would be to upgrade your system and get rid of the headaches altogether. That customer replaced his system with us, so that's where we made more revenue than the guy that was coming out there every couple months, just
Mhm.
throwing a part on it and walking away. And that customer loves us to death. He loves us more than the guy that was walking through there, slapping a part on for 100, $200 and rolling out. And I mean, that's just one situation out of hundreds over the years,
Wow.
to where just going in, giving the homeowner all the information to make a educated decision, that's the most important thing. And so by doing that, being personable, treating everyone with respect, just being friendly with everyone, and portraying yourself in a professional manner, I mean, this is a great field to be in, but you've got to kind of master all aspects of it.
Yeah. So how did you get in front of that homeowner initially?
We got in front of that homeowner because the guy that normally did his work was on vacation.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And it was a weekend and I think it was a Friday evening, and he called us and was hot and miserable. And we went out, we gave him all the information up front. And then he was like, let's do it. And the next day we had a crew out there and replaced his heat pump for him. And we just recently went back and did a maintenance for the guy. I mean, he loves it to death.
Wow. That's how it's done. So when it comes to the busy season, everyone loves summer. Like it gets hot. I remember last summer I was in a rental and it's funny, before my client was my client, I reached out to him and I said, hey man, what do I need to do here? He says, I took a picture and he's like, oh, just like through messenger, he's like, just do these couple things and turn it back on. I pulled out one of the filters.
Disconnect.
Yeah, I
Oh,
pulled out the
filter.
filter and it was wet, it was so wet. He's like, just put a new filter in there and you could keep the AC running but get a new filter in there ASAP. My house went from like 103 to 70 that night, which I was like awesome, because two
Mhm.
days it was hot. We're here in Phoenix, so it gets really hot here. So
Yep.
I spent my days in the movie theater watching movies, but my like if I were a homeowner and they were just like very quick and easy with me, like he'd have my business all the time. Now I give him business all the time. It's
Yeah.
not my business, but it's other people's business.
Right. Right.
But so when it's the hot season, homeowners really don't have an option. When it's gonna get hot, they're like, well, I can't sit in the heat too much longer. My kids
Oh
are
yeah. No, I
the
mean,
heat just sucks, you know. So obviously it's easier to service homeowners, but during the slow season, how do you guys stay busy during the slow season? That's a big question that I feel like a lot of people want to know from you, especially someone that's been doing. You've had 30 slow seasons, you know.
yeah. Yep. Maintenance agreements are crucial. You definitely want, I mean, homeowners, for one, they need to keep up with their systems more than they do. Like you were saying, just the air filter change took care of your problem. Homeowners need to change their air filters regularly, and they need to have a certified technician come out and perform a preventative maintenance at least twice a year. About every 6 months, they need to have someone coming in there, checking that system out, making sure that it's working. It's going to continue to keep working. And one thing that the homeowners need to do is they need to actually heed a lot of what the technician's telling them. There's been times where a lot of homeowners, well, it was working fine before you got here. We understand it was working fine, but it's not going to continue to work fine if this is not addressed. It's kind of like you take your car into an oil change place and they tell you, hey, your car didn't have any oil in it. Well, it was running fine when I got here, so just go ahead and fill it up. I mean, okay, but you know, you just got to convey the information properly.
So for the skeptical homeowners, the homeowners that are very paranoid about everyone trying to sell them something, how do you stand out? You said every homeowner needs at least buy twice a year,
Hmm.
like maintenance agreements, buy a certified tech. How does a homeowner get that peace of mind?
The why question.
Yep.
You know,
Okay.
if they tell you something's wrong, well, why did this happen? If they can't tell you why it happened, then how do they know how to mitigate the problem?
Exactly.
So
So when it comes to the slow season, you're saying maintenance agreements are the key there. Is there anything else? How do you get people to agree to the maintenance agreements?
for one, it's through your initial customer service. I mean, the way you go in and present yourself. I mean, if you go in there and you make a friend out of that homeowner, they're going to take your word that, okay, maybe he knows what he's talking about. If you make them comfortable through your actions and through the way you present yourself to them, they're going to be a lot more open to communicate with you and do more business with you that you recommend,
Okay.
hands down. I mean, if you're in there 30 minutes and out the door, and as your technician is walking out the door, he says, hey, you ought to think about having a maintenance on this every so often too. Bye. I mean, a lot of it's personnel. I mean, you got to have your people out there, um, you know, advising these customers and letting them know that, hey, preventative maintenance is a very real thing. You need to have this done. If you're not having it done, if a lot of the situations where you go out on a call could have been prevented, if they'd had someone come check the system out, it might could have been a simple repair, um, 6 months ago, but now it's a major repair because something minor wasn't taken care of.
Wow. So that's it's the small things where something small, it's easy, quick, could turn into a big ticket item right there
Oh yeah, something
for the
as simple as
homeowners.
a contactor. A contactor's, that's a fairly simple repair. You go out on a maintenance, we inspect the points on the contactors. If we see they're getting burnt or pitted, we let the homeowner know that, hey, this is a major issue. Now, let's say that you leave on vacation, your air conditioning system comes on, and the contactor welds itself shut and sticks. It cools the house down. The temperature in the house cuts off. The outdoor unit continues to run because the contactor's not shutting it off. Your indoor coil freezes up. Odds are you can cause the indoor coil to cause a leak. You can cause the compressor to fail. you can actually cause it to leak water and flood your house. I mean, you may come home, your ceiling's laying in the floor, your evaporator coil's busted, now your compressor's dead, and
Wow.
you just don't know why. And it was because of a simple repair that could have been done while a maintenance tech was there.
Sounds like a expensive fix after all that's done. Sounds like it
Yeah.
could have
I mean,
been.
that's an extreme situation, but
Yeah.
things like that do happen.
Well, I mean, my C unit, like the bottom, the floor right there. Like, I'm not the homeowner, I'm the renter.
Hmm.
Which, if my landlord's watching, I'm sorry, but it was wet down there, and I didn't know any better. This is the first home I've been in since I moved out when I was 17. So I didn't know what to do. So I just pulled it out. It was leak, but I just put towels there, right? It's probably why we didn't get a deposit back. Anyways, when it comes to getting more hotter, right? We're getting that season right now. What can a homeowner do to make sure their bill doesn't skyrocket?
Preventative maintenance for one.
Really?
Call,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Have someone come out, check the system, and check the refrigerant, check all the electrical components, check their amp draws, check the airflow, check the duct system. Everything needs to be checked good on the maintenance. I mean,
Before summer.
oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. Before, I mean, because when the heat hits and there's thousands of calls coming in for repair, it's hard to get someone to come out and just do a good maintenance on a system when they're being flooded with calls like that.
Yeah.
So the slower seasons are the time where the maintenances need to be done the most.
Okay.
Which I've been with companies that had such a large maintenance base that they have full-time maintenance technicians. So they're running maintenances all year long. They may have 5 or 6 maintenance technicians alone, which is great.
Yeah.
As long as those maintenance technicians are properly trained. When I started in the industry, maintenance technician was kind of the entry level. That was where we come in. We started doing things. If there was a problem, we'd call in, we'd let someone know. They'd send a service technician out, or they would walk us through it. That's probably what helped me the most when I was young, starting out, was um, if I seen something out of the ordinary or something that I wasn't sure about, I had a guy that I could call. Um,
Yeah.
his name was David Adams. He's, a great guy. He was a great mentor. He's no longer with us, unfortunately. But I was able to call him, and he could walk me through anything on the phone. And nowadays, I'm the same way. I mean, most technicians, I get calls from technicians all over the country. Hey, I'm seeing
Really?
this, I'm seeing that. People I've met in the past and worked with in the past, they've kind of branched out all over the country. And, I'll get calls from them. Hey, I got this going on. I got that going on. And as long as they can tell me what they're looking at, I can usually walk them through and tell them exactly what's wrong with the system.
Wow. If I have someone that watches this, and I get like 5-10 views an episode. I've only had one episode, but organically I'm friends with a lot of techs. If someone needs help, are they open to contact you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Okay,
fine with it.
cool. What's the best way they can reach you at?
Probably my cell phone.
Okay, so before anyone floods your cell phone, text me,
Yeah.
guys, and I will connect you with Josh. So text me 541-554-7497. I'm okay with my phone number being out on the internet because I can decipher what the crap is and not. So cool, man. If anyone needs help, I'll connect them with you, Josh. So this is for one of my he's not my client. He was going to be, but our budget and where he was at just didn't work out. We would have been a good fit, but this guy is worried about, and I'm sure there's a lot of other HVAC owners that have the same problem. They want to hire someone for the busy season, and they want to keep them during the slow season. They're just busy that they won't have enough jobs or revenue to keep them on during the slow season. So they're hesitant to hire someone and kind of let go and delegate. They want to leave the
Hmm.
field, but they can't because they're scared. What would you tell those types of business owners right there? How would you consult them?
I'm probably the world's worst micromanager, but
Okay, okay.
um, and I mean, at some point you have to do that. But you've got to be sure that you've got the correct people brought on. to fill your void. Um, and that's a hard thing for any man to do, especially someone like me that's just constantly been in the field and constantly worked and trained and taught people. It's hard to let go of that aspect of it and to sit and actually tell people, need to go do this, need to go do that, you need to check this, need to check that. Because you always just want to be right there hands on, and because what I might could go in and find wrong in just a few moments may take someone else a couple hours. They may be just sitting there back and forth spinning their head. So technical training is something that really, really needs to be looked at as far as the industry. Now there's a lot of companies out here, and they say, "Oh, we train our people. We train our people." They harp to their customers how they constantly are training their people. That's a question of what the homeowners need to ask them. Well, what are they teaching you? Because what they're teaching them is communication, which is, in our industry, if they're having communication training, they're having sales training. Okay. They're teaching these people how to go in, not be knowledgeable about, not be technically sound, but how to go in and upsell to these customers. And not every customer is getting what they're expecting. I've been back behind a lot of companies here, even here recently, to where, we would go in and do work, and there's a little ionizer or something, just looks like a Tinker toy as far as indoor air quality treatments are concerned. And, these people had biological growth in their duct system. Well, the ionizer is great for getting more particulates out of the air, but it is going to do nothing to treat biological growth inside your ducts already. It's not going to take care of that situation. That's more for, helping your air filtration, and the company that came in there seen that, and that was a component that they had that they could upsell that customer on. And the technician was not knowledgeable enough to know that that's a good component to have in your home, but it's not the correct treatment. It's like somebody having cancer and you telling them to take a couple aspirin a day and they should be okay. Not the right treatment.
No. Okay. So I think it boils down, for the homeowners at least, if you're skeptical or you really need a little more reassurance, just ask why at least 3 times. Why?
Yeah. But and here's something for the business owners to consider is, if the customers are having to ask why too often, you need to take a look at your personnel. If your technicians are going in and they're not giving that customer that good feeling up front and throughout the whole process of their visit at that customer's home, then that's a personnel issue. That's a technician that it may need to be brought in and trained a little bit better before you just start sending them out to other people's homes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good. And you would probably train them. How would you train that personnel if they're having that issue?
It depends on what kind of issue they're having. Yeah. The best way to figure a guy out is you put him in a truck with a senior technician, someone that has the skills to pay the bills, and you let them learn from that guy one-on-one. You can sit people in a classroom and you can talk to them all day long, but until you can motivate them and get them to want to do better and inspire them to, do what's in the customer's best interest, then they're just going to be out there doing whatever they can do the easiest way possible.
Easiest way to also get that check.
Yeah.
So real quick before we hop off, I just have 2 more questions. That one last question though, about how to, for someone scared to hire someone because they can't keep them during a slow time, what would you tell that person, right?
You've got to put more money. You got to figure out a way to put more calls on the board during the slow season. even if you have to, you know, if you have to look at home warranties, if you have to look at property management companies, something that will allow you to put calls on the board for your people.
And
But maintenance agreements are
yeah,
the key figure of slow season work.
okay, that's golden right there, man. And um, that's what I when I do a lot of cold calling, which is annoying because I know you get called by like 10 marketers a day. So, um,
I wish it would stop at 10.
yeah,
we're,
tough.
we're, we're getting about 20 or 30 at this point.
Whew.
So,
Yeah, no, I go all day, so it'll be 5 o'clock Pacific time, and I don't hit the Eastern time zone when it's 5 o'clock here. But at the end of the day, you can tell they're upset because I'm the 30th guy. So I'm just like,
yeah.
hey, the reason why I cold call is because I do believe I truly help, and it's because I help with the maintenance agreements right there. Because I know
Hmm.
that that's going to keep the customers, that's going to keep my clients busy during a slow season, and it's important to keep that pipeline full. And you do that
Yeah.
during the busy season.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of people that don't keep their customers' information in one database to remind them about that yearly right, bi yearly or 2 times a year
Yeah.
uh maintenance agreements right there. So okay, that's a good way. I'm gonna send him that clip because he needs to hear this, because he really wants to get out of the office, or he really wants to get out of the field and be in the office and like work on his business, not in his business.
Right.
Last question. I've been hearing there's a lot of companies that buy small HVAC companies. Uh, do you think do you think that we're heading to a place where there could be a monopoly, or all these companies are owned by a few big companies?
Yeah. That's definitely going on right now.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't understand why that's going on. And it's because those big companies that are buying these up have learned that I think the trust value that homeowners have with their company, it's low. It's like 12 or 15%, I think. Don't quote me on these numbers,
Yeah.
but
What would 12, like 12% being like the customer doesn't trust the company?
right. Well,
Okay.
no, 12% trustworthiness. So it means that's, what, 85, 87% have a negative opinion of that big
Oh
company.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what they're doing is they're coming in, they're buying up these locally owned companies where I just had a friend that actually sold one of those companies, as a matter of fact. And he sold it to a much bigger company. And the reason being is because the trust value of those smaller companies that are locally owned and operated is somewhere in it may be, I want to say I've heard like 38%.
Yeah.
So that's a much bigger benefit than 12%.
12. Yeah.
And so when these bigger companies come in, what they do, they buy them up, they come in, and now they've got a lot more trust inside that homeowner's home when they go in and start pushing for upsells, IAQ products, you know, performance enhancing components, things like that. And I'm not saying that the customers don't need those, because they do,
Yeah.
it's a big benefit. But um, they're taking advantage of the hard work that that company and that reputation. Basically, they're buying the reputation of the company. When we
Yeah, that's
was
what it
talking
seems
about
like.
reputation is everything, they're spending millions and millions of dollars to buy a reputation, and they're not doing that because they know how to build the reputation. It's just it's cheaper for them to buy reputation than it is to try to build reputation.
Wow.
And the bad thing is over time that dwindles down and they ruin that reputation
Well, yeah,
because they don't change their business practices. They just buy up other companies. They'll sell one company. They'll set a company up for to show that it had a good profit margin for 1 or 2 years, and then they'll sell it off to somebody else to come in. And then usually that third guy is the one that's taking the brunt of everything. So
jeez. So,
because they've got ways of hiding revenue and hiding expenses. They have multiple branches. They may have a branch that they're dumping all of their loss on or something like that.
wow.
there's tricks of the trade that these big conglomerates, whatever, are using. These investment firms, as they buy these companies up,
Yeah.
there's tricks that they use to make a branch more valuable to sell.
Interesting. So do you think so if you know, guy's been in the industry for 20, 30 years and his family doesn't want to work in the business, or someone that's trustworthy that they don't trust enough someone to like hand it off, and that someone gives them an offer, what do you think? Like, should they sell? Should they not sell? What's your opinion on selling to these big companies?
Well, I mean, you can't go on forever. I mean, at some point, you do have to, you know, admit that human nature is you've got to take care of yourself at some point.
Exactly.
I'm still trying to learn that, I guess, because I seem like I try to take care of everyone else.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, you at some point either that business is going to change hands or it's just going to fold. That's your only choices. It either has to change hands to someone in your family, or, if you hand it down to someone, or you're going to have to sell it, or you're just going to have to close it down. That's the truth of the matter. There's only that many options. So I mean, yes, if it benefits you to sell your business, then you have to sell your business. I mean, if it's more beneficial for you to not be working there and you can go on with your life and not be tied to it, then that's what you need to do on a personal level. Um, you can't, when once you let it go, I mean, you can't really dictate how it's ran after that.
No.
It's just, there's no way to control it. And so, I mean, you either just, you let it die or you sell it and hope for the best.
Dang. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. There's a lot of value here. That I'll be. I can't. I think I got a lot of good clips out of this too. So I'll be sending those to you. And then before I end everything, this is like a personal question to me. For me actually. So I wanna. I love the HVAC trade. Um, when I got when I was in high school, my sophomore year, they this is Eugene, Oregon, so very liberal out there. They took out, so there was college night and there was trade night. They took out trade
Mhm.
night my sophomore year. So I didn't know anything about the trades. I didn't have to go to wood shop or the welding class. I didn't have to do any of that. Instead, I could have done like Photoshop or worked on a computer. And me being a teenager, I thought that was so cool. So I did that instead. But now I'm like, dang, I should have gotten into trades. And I'm grateful for I am right now because I'm learning a lot of valuable skills. So I got marketing down, service, like talking to people and like communicating. Very good at that. I worked in customer service for almost 7 years, and every 2 minutes is a new person. They were either happy or very upset. I learned how to talk to different types of people, different types of
Mhm.
what. However, I know how to talk to humans and uh, be on the same level with them. I want to buy or partner up with someone that owns an HVAC company. Is that
Mhm.
realistic for me since I've never been in the field before? Or is
Oh,
that
absolutely.
a pie out of the sky question? You're like, don't,
No,
that's
no,
silly.
there should be, plenty of opportunity because as a business, it's not just what's going on in the field. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. I would recommend probably trying to get in with a bigger company and actually see the day-to-day operations first. Just jumping into a service company like this, residential, there's a lot you'll need to learn about, the day-to-day operations, how things are scheduled out, what times of years, to push your marketing, how to, what's working best for you. There's just a lot of things that, you have to kind of see it to start to understand it. Um, but yeah, I mean, you don't have to be the guy in the field to make a company work. If you've got, I mean, it's like Henry Ford, they tried to take away all his patents and things. And, in court, one of the lawyers stood up and told him, Mr. Ford, you don't even know who makes your wheels. And Mr. Ford told him, I don't need to know who makes my wheels. I know the guy who knows the guy that makes my wheels. So you don't have to know what the technical side of it is if that's not what you're bringing to the table in that company. You just have to know that the guy that does know the technical side is strong in what he does, and you can lean on him. So everyone has to work hand in hand together.
Yep. Cool. That's reassuring because I've had this goal for I want to say like 18 months now. It's on my phone. I have a list of goals right here, and you can't see it, but one of the goals there is buy/partner up with an HVAC company because I like
Yeah.
this field, and I like helping. Like I know there's a lot of good homeowners out there that want honest, reliable, truthful people like yourself that just kind of like is very transparent of what's going on in their home and their unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of homeowners would like that, and I'm confident that I can educate a lot of homeowners that way with the systems and processes, especially on the marketing side and day-to-day operation side. So cool, man. So this ends the podcast. Before I hit end on everything, is there any last words of advice to any HVAC business owner out there right now?
Just you know, be honest, be upfront, and keep working hard because you're going to work hard. In this field, you're going if you're afraid of hard work, you need to find something else to do. But
Oh yeah.
you know, um, yeah, it's a rough field to be in, but it's a very rewarding field. So
That's good. Well, thank you so much, Josh. Appreciate you. And guys, if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure to like and subscribe and comment because there will be more coming. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.